The inspiration behind this week's Cycle Sunday episode came after Thursday this week, the trading session, New York session. We had high impact news. Obviously, you guys know I only trade EU and GU. And I spotted my setup from London. Like from the London session, like from 2 a.m. New York, I spotted it. I was like, yep, cool. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for buy side London to get swept, making a down range and a New York reversal on Thursday. Standard stuff, right? And I started to limit my time window on the chart. So, I'd be looking for 30 minutes before I feel like my setup is going to 30 minutes before the news is when my setup typically forms. So that's when I like to get on the chart, 30 minutes before news, so that I don't do anything super prior. And that usually has been working out well. However, when I saw my setup in London, I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, I woke up, let's say, half an hour, like I got out of bed literally half an hour before my setup. And when, got myself prepared and whatever, sat down, and I ended up missing my entry. And my setup played up more than perfectly. It was going to be a 1 to 8. It would have allowed me to pass phase one of my account because I was going to risk 2%. And I was annoyed. Annoyed is a bit of an understatement. I was tilting. And I started getting in my own head. I was like, bro, why is it every time my trade is a winning trade, something goes wrong either with my trade management or with like me entering or not entering or whatever. And I got that thought for a second and I was like, no, but I can't think like that though. Because the positive thing is my drawn liquidity, alhamdulillah, is normally right. It's normally correct. So if I normally have the correct drawn liquidity intra-session, it's just about actually executing and managing risk, right? That's one way to think about it. Another way to think about it is, okay, cool. So let's say I'm sulking. I'm sulking. I'm like, nothing's going right. Like whenever I have a winning trade, I am not maximizing it properly, right? And I'm taking partial winners and full losses, right? And when I think about that, it's easy to get frustrated, but then at the same time, it's like, well, what else are you gonna do? What's the alternative? Many of us, not just myself, probably you behind the camera too, you probably get upset with yourself over mistakes that you make in the marketplaces. And you probably consider, wow, is this really for me? Is this really something that I'm going to succeed in? And when I caught myself with those thoughts, I asked myself, I was like, well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? What? Go work some 9 to 5 that will never be able to pay my bills, that I'll never be able to actually live off of? What's the alternative? There is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative. And the quicker we get used to the fact that there is no alternative to this shit, is the quicker that we'll actually be able to we'll actually be able to realize that no matter how many times we fail, it's simply meant to be a learning experience. And we're supposed to just come back again and fight more until we make it. Nothing, like, you will never lose until, like, you win. It's not over until you win. And the quicker you have that mindset, the quicker you're going to be able to submit to time. It's not the quicker you're going to be able to do this and pass your funded challenge. No, it's the quicker you're going to be able to submit to the time that it's going to take for you to pass that funded challenge. And that's the reality. And that's why I have to take a step back and actually realize. You know? I didn't realize that those thoughts mean absolutely nothing. Because regardless of whether or not I'm feeling like, oh, is this really for me? What other choice do I have? And many of you are in the same boat that I'm in.